To thank the Samoan Fellowship Choir from Riverton Park United Methodist Church for the beautiful music. They have one more piece that they're going to present, but before they do, I just wanted to encourage the laity to enter the space and to find a seat. We'll start at approximately 1:30. But we have a few things to pass out, and we can't do that until everyone is in the room. At least we can't do it very efficiently. So please come in, enjoy the music, and we'll begin in a little bit. Thank you. again to the choir. Beautiful music to set the tone for our Laity Session, wasn't it? For the first thing I need to do is to call members of the Board of Laity forward to the front here to help pass out some things. We have lots of handouts for you, and we want to get those out as quickly as possible. So let me welcome you. I'm Joan Holmes. I have the pleasure and honor of serving as your conference lay leader for this past 4 years. It's been a whirlwind, and it's been wonderful. And I've been looking forward to this session. Every year I do, and I'm just so glad that so many of you are here. Thank you for that. Voting. Okay. So one of the things we'll be handing out is a ballot for the election of conference lay leader. You'll be electing your new conference lay leader today, and that person will take over at the close of annual conference. As they come by with those gold-colored ballots, we need to know that you are a voting member of the annual conference. Only voting members of the conference receive a ballot. You can have everything else, but the ballots can only go to voting members. So please, if you're not a voting member, do not take one of those. Those are coming around now. There are also programs, I believe, being distributed so that you can see where we are with the session. There aren't a lot of details in the program, but it'll help you follow along and know where we are. There's one thing that I'm going to add to our program. It was a last-minute addition. This morning, one of the reports that didn't happen was a final report from Imagine No Malaria. Julia Frisbee is here and was going to tell us how it all turned out and to thank us for all the hard work we did. Since that didn't happen, and since she cannot be with us tomorrow to do it then, she is right now, she's over at the clergy session doing the presentation there and thanking them, and then she's going to run back over here and do the same presentation here. So later in the program, we will hear from Julia Frisbee. We'll just wait and see when she arrives. All right. Things are being handed out. We want to make sure you get everything. One of the things that, one of the items of business is, as I said, the election of conference lay leader. There was one flyer in your pre-conference handbook that was from Amy Convalin, and it was in both the electronic version and the hard copy. And so you should have that. And if you haven't read it, we're going to give you a few minutes to read her flyer. And then you're also receiving a flyer from Nancy Tam Davis, who I think for the past week or so, her flyer has been in the online version, so you may have seen it there, but it did not get into your pre-conference handbook hard copy. So we'll give you a few minutes to read that and to read through Amy's and just refresh your memory. And that'll all happen before we do the election of lay leader. All right. So as they continue passing out things, I think I'm going to invite Douglas Evans. Here, I just blanked on your name. I'm going to invite Douglas Evans to come forward. Douglas is I knew somebody was missing last night. It was Douglas. Douglas is our district lay leader for the Vancouver district, and he's going to come up and offer us an opening prayer.
Friends, let us give thanks and rejoice as we enter into an attitude of prayer. God of grace, God of glory, we come before you with thanksgiving in our hearts. You sent your precious Son at just the right moment in history. You sent him to be the salvation. You sent him not to condemn this world, but to save it. And then a time came when he was crucified, and he died and was buried. And then you rose him from the dead. But we were not left empty-handed, for we have the church. We have your church. And our thanksgiving is for the leaders of that church, the clergy that you have sent to us to be our spiritual guides, to be our partners. We thank you for that partnership with our clergy. God of grace and God of glory, we thank you for the laity, those of us who are the body of the church, the body of your church. Remind us in this time that we are not here to do our own will, but to replace our will with yours, to follow you, to seek you, and to be your hands, feet, voice as your kingdom comes. God of grace and God of glory, we give you thanks for all that you have given to us. We now ask that you would bless these proceedings, not only in this session, but in this weekend as we gather as an annual conference, so that what we do may be for your glory. It is in your Son, Jesus' name, we pray these very things. Amen.
So has everyone received a program, a ballot, and a flyer? I think that was everything.
I think we're going to run out of flyers.
You're still waiting for flyers? Okay. All
I
right.
think we're going to run out.
We may not have enough flyers to go around, so you may have to share.
We could share.
Oh, there's some extras.
I think I have. I've got this. Should have names attached to this.
If you do not have a flyer, would you raise your hand so that our ushers will see? Oh, we got a whole lot in the middle here.
Does everyone have a ballot? That's the main thing.
Okay. After they put their hands down, then I'll ask about ballot. Once they put their hands down, I'll ask about ballots. So we don't confuse our ushers. Okay, what?
The campaign flyers, I mean, the nomination may be gone. If that's what you're looking for.
You mean Nancy's?
Yeah. That's what they were writing.
Well, there were people who had a bunch of extras,
Oh,
so there must, hopefully.
yeah, good.
Okay, so while those are still being passed out, I'm going to talk a little bit about the role of the conference lay leader. And yes, keep your hands up if you don't have the ballot or the flyers yet. So I was asked to talk a little bit about what it is that the conference lay leader does. And I want to begin by reading just a paragraph from the Book of Discipline. It says, "The conference lay leader is the elected leader of conference laity and will have responsibility for fostering awareness of the role of laity both within the congregation and through their ministries in the home, the workplace, community, and world, in achieving the mission of the church and enabling and supporting lay participation in the planning and decision-making processes of the annual conference, the district, and local church, in cooperation with the bishop, district superintendents, and pastors." And then it goes on to talk about who the lay leader will relate to. United Methodist Women, United Methodist Men, basically every group, board, agency that deals with laity. In addition, the conference lay leader serves on a number of conference agencies and is often the only lay person in the room who is not employed by the conference. And that's significant. That means that the conference lay leader is the one who provides the voice of the laity. The conference lay leader serves on numerous conference committees. They are the chair of the board of laity. They're the vice chair of the connectional table with the bishop. They're a member of the Committee on Episcopacy, think SPRC for the bishop. They're a member of the extended cabinet, the committee on nominations. That's just to name a few. In addition, the lay leader is a voting member of annual conference and provides a lay leader's address at annual conference each year. The lay leader will also receive invitations to speak at churches, at district events, at training events. Now, it sounds like a lot, and it is. But it's also a great privilege to serve in this way. The lay leader has an opportunity to serve alongside some wonderful colleagues. The members of the Board of Laity, generous and supportive people. The bishop and all those whose ministry is leadership through their roles in the conference staff are some of the most talented and dedicated people you will meet. And you will have former lay leaders to call on when you have questions. Some of my greatest supporters have been the former lay leaders. So let me offer thanks, first of all, to all of those who have or will put yourselves forward to serve the church in this way. I'm going to turn the process over to Jim Russell and Rosalie Money. I guess I need to ask, is there anyone who is a voting member who does not have a ballot at this point? Okay, we've got a few. If folks could get ballots to them. Yeah, keep your hands up and they'll come around with ballots. Shall we give them a few moments to make sure everyone has read the flyer? Let's okay. Give them a few minutes to make sure they've read the flyer that they were given.
Yeah, I'll tell them about that too.
Okay.
And then I'm going to also.
Good afternoon, I'm Jim Russell, former lay leader and current member of the Board of Laity as the affiliate with the United Methodist Men. I would encourage you to look at page 19 in your pre-conference handbook for the information for one of our candidates this evening. That's Amy Convalin. You have the handout for Nancy Tam Davis. So those are the two candidates that we have at this time. And since we have an opportunity for each district to have a candidate, I would ask now if there are any nominations from the floor for the position of conference lay leader. And anyone may be nominated as long as you will agree to being a nominee, being a candidate. Are there nominations from the floor? I can't see very well with the light, but so if there is, if you'll say hello in addition to raising your hand, if there are any. Seeing none, we'll continue then with the election of one of these two people. And I would like to ask Nancy and Amy if they would please come forward and grab a seat for a minute. We'll have an opportunity for you to speak to the body here as we go along. Is Nancy here?
Yes. Come on up, Nancy.
Yeah, well, there you are. Come on up. What we'll be doing is hearing a campaign speech from each of our candidates, and then we'll go on with the voting from there. Each candidate will speak for 3 minutes and give you the essence of whatever they want to talk about. So let's start with doing it in alphabetical order. Nancy Tam Davis.
I made a change that Jim didn't know about. So I actually told them they had up to 5 minutes. So I didn't want them to feel like they had to cut their presentations short. Is Noriko?
Where's Noriko?
Noriko's here. So Noriko is actually timing you. However, it's just guidelines. We are not going to cut the mic at 5 minutes, but just to help you stay focused. All right.
She'll only give you a 30-second warning for whatever time she wants to do that. So.
Pirates of the Caribbean is one of my favorite movies, and isn't that where they say, it's just mostly guidelines? Some of you know me. Quite a few of you in this group know me. I've worked with your congregations. I've been part of your strategic planning or trainings on communication, dialogue over difficult issues that you've had, leadership development, and beta coaching. I've worked with over 40 congregations in the last 25 to 30 years. I've coached, I've facilitated, I've trained, I've consulted, and I am in awe of the work that you do in your congregations, in your community, and in the world. I've attended worship in many of your churches, not because I was traveling through on a Sunday and didn't have anything better to do, but because I wanted to get to know you, to see how you worship together, to see how you're in mission together in serving your community and the world. I wanted to see how you were in relationship with one another. I like what I see. Others have not met me yet, and so I'm going to give you a quick overview. My life work has been in the area of bringing voices to the table, encouraging the full participation and engagement of everyone. Quick story about one group I worked with. I was asked to build a team among a road crew. These are your steel-toed boots, hard hat folks, men and women who are out working on your county roads every day. And at the first meeting, now you gotta know that these folks were told, you're paid to work, not to think. Thinking is management's job. So my job was to get them engaged, and they were uncomfortable even saying their name, hearing their voice in a meeting. By the end of the year, that group had changed a major system, a major practice in the county. They identified the problem, they stepped up to a solution, and they presented it to the management and supervisors of the county. And when they were done, the county executive stood and gave them a standing ovation, because what they did not only increased their safety and the public safety, but made their work more effective. I love that crew, and they've gone on to do many other great things. I want to create a space for all voices to come to the table. The voices of youth and young adults, the voices of those of you who have been engaged in the church for a long time and understand the traditions and nuances of the church. I want to provide a safe place for people who've never raised their voice before, and to the people who have been silenced by our culture, that we have found or tried to find make them invisible. I want to bring those voices to the table because I feel that that's what's going to make our church thrive. I believe a number of things. That laity has a strong voice, not only in the church, in the community, but in the world. I believe in the diversity of voices because it is the diversity that gives richness as we address problems and challenges together, as we find solutions that work. And you fill a vital role from the local to the global. Now you have to know I'm a convert. And I've heard a lot of things about converts. My first conversion experience was I was 5 years old. My neighbors were going to church. My neighbor kids were my best friends. So I said I'd go along. Now, two things happened that day that I'd never experienced before. The first one, and I come from an unchurched family, the first one was communion. I had no idea what that was, what it was about, why we did it, but I thought the morning snacks were very skimpy. The second thing that happened was I went home and I was coming down with the flu. I was one sick puppy for a couple of days. So my 5-year-old brain put this together, and I decided that the purpose of church was to poison children. It took me about 25 or 30 years to get past that first conversion experience before I really stepped into a church again. There was some stirring going on inside of me. I think it was called my soul. my spirit. And I had lots of questions, and some of them were the yeah, but confrontations. And the Methodist Church was there for me in all of my wanderings about my soul. So, 30 years later, I have spent a lot of time working with this conference, with bishops, starting with Cal McConnell, with cabinets, with commissions and boards, congregations, leadership teams, and individuals, bringing their voices to the table. But why me? Why now? Well, I went to annual conference this year. General conference. And I thought, I may never see one of these again. It's just down the road. So I went and observed what was going on. I heard people from United Methodists from all across the world speak passionately from their heads and their hearts, share their hopes, their fears, their concerns, their ideas. And I saw the challenges ahead of this church. You've heard that statement, may you live in interesting times. Well, we are. And the challenges are many. And what I want to do is bring the voices to the table so that we can move into the future. I want the voice of the laity to work in partnership with the bishop, the cabinet, the clergy as we move forward. I want that voice to be heard throughout the episcopacy. I want that energy to be felt in jurisdictional conference and the next general conference. Our energy excites me right now. And yes, we live in interesting times. All voices are important. Leadership arises in every setting, in every congregation, in every time we come together with God in our hearts. And with that, with God in our hearts, we can achieve anything. The time is right. The time is now. And I want to be part of this journey with you. Thank you.
Now, Amy?
Good afternoon, church. I wanted to start off today by saying thank you to all of you for spending your weekend being here, representing your individual churches, bringing your thoughts and the thoughts of your church to this place for discussion. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time, and I wanted to have a chance to say thank you to you guys. Now, in trying to come up with something to say to you guys today, I did what any smart person would do. I consulted my friends. And my first friend said, Amy, you should go up there and say to them, just pray about it. Write down who God tells you to write down, and that'll be it. Now, that's actually true. That's actually all I really want to say up here today, because truly, I will do the best job I can. I know that Nancy will do the best job she can. But the truth is, we want God's choice up here. We want God's choice in the position, because that is who he is going to bless supernaturally to be able to do more than any of us can do on our own. So really, if you want to know what I have to say, that's it. But I asked another friend, and she said, well, you kind of have to tell them something about yourself, Amy. So I decided to share with you my proud mama moment. So I have two girls, an 11-year-old named Lorelei, and a 13-year-old named Ainsley. Ainsley was confirmed in the United Methodist Church last June. As part of Club 56, which is our pre-confirmation class, she went to a Catholic church, and afterwards to visit. And afterwards I asked her, well, what did you think of the Catholic Church? And she said, well, it was fine, but I'm not a Catholic. And I said, okay, well, that's fine, but why aren't you a Catholic? And she said, because, Mommy, you have to sit down and stand up and kneel and stand and sit. She's like, it's just too much work. Not kidding. You can't make this stuff up. But it started a conversation and a dialogue within our family that lasted about 6 months long, where we went and visited several different Christian churches. We also went and visited other faith communities. We spent a lot of time in the Bible and a lot of time understanding what it meant to be a Methodist. In the end, I asked her again, "Do you want to be confirmed in the Methodist Church?" And she said yes. And I said, "Okay, why?" And she said, "Because I want to announce my decision to follow Jesus in front of my church family." I had to applaud her too with that. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. I had planted that seed in her, obviously, by taking her to church, but it had been watered by her Sunday school teachers, by her youth director, by pastors, by all of these people who came into her life, so that it came to the fruition where the Holy Spirit was able to take hold of her and say, "Yes, I'm taking this one. I'm going to be in her, and she's going to be in me." And I just thought that was the most beautiful answer I've ever heard. But I still wasn't quite sure what I should say. So I asked one more friend. And this friend said to me, "You know, Amy, the reason why I want you to run for lay leader is because you love Jesus and you're willing to talk about it. And we need more of that." Now, I absolutely do love Jesus, and I talk to everybody about it. In fact, this week, I'm a physical therapist, and this week I had an opportunity to treat a new patient. And she happened to mention early on in her evaluation that her partner was the one who found she had some bruising on the back of her leg. And so she mentioned this to me, and we kind of went on with the evaluation. Well, during the evaluation, I was a little bit concerned that she might have a blood clot in her leg, but you never want to ask anybody that because that's a very alarming question. So I'm trying to ask leading questions along the way as things go along. And I said, "Oh, has the doctor done any other testing? Did he do an x-ray?" And she said, "Oh, no, but he did a Doppler to check for blood clots." And I literally said to her, "Thank you, Jesus." But you know what was so cool is she had a reaction to that. She kind of went, "Whoa, like that's not what I would have expected to hear, and I'm a little bit wondering about what that's going to mean for our relationship in the future." Well, the great thing is we are going to have a relationship. We're going to be together twice a week for the next month, and I'm going to have a chance to talk to her about my church, about my faith, about my beliefs, and hopefully open a door and perhaps heal a wound deep down that she suffered a long time ago. That's the feeling I got about it at the time. I don't know that that's necessarily true. So, to summarize, because my 30 seconds just went up, now I'm down to 10. I would love to be able to stand in this position, and it would be an extreme honor. I am a full-time working mom of 2. I do actually in the process of opening my own business, and I do have an 11 and a 13-year-old. In fact, today, after this session, I have to leave because my daughters are performing in a recital, and I am the physical therapist for the dance school. So I am needed this evening. I've already been texted to be told I'm needed this evening. It would be one of the wonderful, abundant blessings I have on my plate. I feel completely capable of doing it, and I would be encouraged to do it. But truly, I'm going to end where I started. What I want you to do is pray and ask God who He's going to bless in this position. Because really, I stand with the bishop when I say, we want God to be making these decisions for our church. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy and Nancy. And because you're behind me, will you please come out front so they can see you again? And let's give them a round of applause. Okay. That's fine. I have to apologize. My bifocals are not working with this stand, so I can't see very well. I'm going to take just a moment, and before we move on to the process of how to vote, and thank the Board of Laity for coming on a moment's notice in some cases to help pass out things, because we had shifts and so on. But I guess it's fair to say the Board of Laity's middle name is Flexibility. And they're not done yet, because once the balloting is finished, then they'll be around to collect the ballots. Let's have a word of prayer, please. Creator God, you have brought us here to this place today to choose by discernment, by understanding, by faith, by love and caring, who should be the conference lay leader for the next quadrennium. Use us as your vessel to do this through grace and the very best of our faith. In Christ's name, amen. I'm going to talk about the process of what we're going to do this afternoon. And once again, does every voting member have one of these? Joan doesn't. David, will you get her one, please? The one person, wouldn't you know? On here, and I hope you have read this, on the screen, should be. There they are. Down here at the bottom it says include both the number and the candidate's name. Now you're going to say, well, why is that both the name and the number? Because not everybody writes equally well. Sorry, kids. So it was my intention that probably we could tell the difference between a 1 and a 2. So put 1 and the name, 2 and the name, but just one person. If you put both down, it will null and void the ballot. So I think that we're ready to begin. And so, pardon? Yeah. So once you have voted, pass it to the end, to inner aisles, and the Board of Laity then will come and pick them up. And when the person at the end of your aisle has everybody, if you could hold them up. So we'll take a few minutes. And to the Board of Laity, when you get the ballots, bring them to Jim and myself, please. Or no, we have to have them counted first, but yeah, they have to count them first.
Yeah, well, we need to go get it, but we don't need to be up here anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Give it back to Joe.
So I want to thank Jim Russell and Rosalie Money for leading us through this whole process. Yeah, let's give them a hand. So they are going off to count ballots and will come back to us a little later and let us know the results. At this point, we're going to take a turn, and somebody is going to come up and introduce, there she is, Karen, Karen Fisher, District Lay Leader from Seven Rivers District, to introduce Project Rebuild.
Do we still have any ballots outstanding? If you have some, hold them up high. I am Karen Fisher, Seven Rivers District Lay Leader. 2 summers ago and last summer, this state experienced devastating wildfires. I know you've heard of the Carlton Complex and the Okanagan Complex fires. The devastation was great and the rebuild is underway, but it is a slow process. Many who lost everything are still waiting for help. All they have is hope. Hope is what you keep in your heart while you wait. I know for one teenage girl who lost everything she owned in the Carlton Complex fire, hope was a bright pink wall. While she lived in the church, sleeping on a pew, and after her family moved into a tiny RV and a shed, she dreamed of painting the wall of her own bedroom. Hope, a bright pink wall that keeps you focused, looking forward to that day when you will no longer be homeless. So what does hope look like for others? Well, hope looks like me and you. And it looks like the person behind you, the person in front of you, and the person to the sides of you. You are the hope to many people who live in our conference area. Now I'd like to take the time to introduce Jim Truitt and Carlene Anders to tell us about Rebuild, Up from the Ashes. Many of you know Jim. He is the United Methodist Volunteer and Mission Disaster Response Coordinator for the Pacific Northwest. And he serves as our ears, eyes, hands, and feet on the ground when we respond to disasters. Carlene Anders, she is the mayor of Pateros, Washington. She is a volunteer firefighter. And she is the face of the recovery effort, serving as the director of the Okanagan County Long-Term Recovery Group. I'd like you to welcome Carlene and Jim.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here this afternoon. It's very much an honor. We have had a tough 2 years here over the last 2014, 2015 in the Okanagan County particularly, where we live, and the surrounding counties as well. Today we're going to go ahead and give you a presentation of these wildfires, give you a taste of and an opportunity to kind of see how they affected us over there, what was involved. And so what we're going to start off with is a video for you. And that video is going to have some of the actual 911 calls involved in that was put together by some of our emergency management folks. And it's also going to give you a feel of the kind of the life-threatening situation that was involved, particularly in the Carlton Complex back then. We don't have volume.
Do we have audio, Patrick?
We're working on audio, it looks like. As they're doing that, I'll go ahead and just say a few more words. We experienced this, we had 2,200 lightning strikes on Monday, July 14th. We had dozens of fires that we put out. In the end, there were 4 strikes on the Carlton complex, 4 strikes on state land that continued to burn. And by Thursday, July 17th, was the day that we ended up with 70-mile-an-hour winds, 100-degree temperature, and we ended up burning 126,000 acres that day, that one day. That is when most of the loss happened in that fire. Okay, we're ready. Thank you.
Okanagan 911, what is the address of your emergency?
Hello, I live in French Creek, and I'm seeing to the west of me a really large plume of smoke. I'm wondering if that's been called in already.
Okanagan County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I live down here in Carlton, just miles south of Carlton, and I got smoke coming up on the other side of the ridge, southeast of me.
A call from 260 C. Charles, Texas Creek, advising the flames are coming over the hill, approximately half a mile from their residence.
Okanagan 911, what is the address of your emergency?
2031, Highway 153. Fires back up again. It's all in our stuff. Get ready to burn us out.
Okay, how close to the residence is it?
We're at the residence. It's there.
Okay, how close to the residence is it? Is it right up to the residence?
Yes.
Okay, I will let the fire crew know.
We're evacuating, so are the neighbors. There may be close to 100 homes on the Chill list in danger at this moment.
Okay.
We're the last house on the road.
Yeah, Jerry.
Please send some help. Fire.
Jerry. Hello?
Huh?
Take a deep breath. I need Jerry. Where is the fire from where you're at?
There is straight west of us on the hill above Chillis Creek and parallel to the creek. Above the beaver ponds, the big meadow.
Above the beaver ponds?
The fire is parallel to the creek and above the beaver ponds.
How far is that from your house?
Huh?
How far is that from your house?
How far from the house? I would say quarter mile.
Quarter mile?
Yeah, maybe half at the most. And,
okay.
It's moving quickly this way. We spotted it break over the top.
When the stars go out, the timber's gone, but we are stronger than our fear. The homes we built are burning down.
If you can see there, the houses at the bottom, the fire trucks to the right, or to the left, excuse me, that's the flame links that we were dealing with that night.
What is the address of your emergency?
We are right downtown Pateras. We have ashes that have fallen over on the commercial drive. They're spreaded down. There's nobody over here.
Commercial Drive, what's on fire there?
The brush along the railroad tracks.
Brush at the railroad tracks. Okay, hang on
This
just
is
a moment,
daytime.
okay?
It was pitch black during the
commercial
fire, but this is
street,
daytime.
Pateras, brush igniting near the railroad tracks. 1942. Okay, what is your name, ma'am?
My name's Libby Harrison. I'm the mayor of Pateras here.
Libby Harrison?
Yes.
Okay, what's up on up to you, Libby?
Oh my gosh, there's another fire across on the highway. They're popping up everywhere. We need somebody down here quick.
They're getting as much as they can.
I know. Oh my God. Okay.
Where's the other fire, Libby?
There's a fire. There's a fire in Yancey's storage.
Okay, I'm responding units.
received a call from Nicole Vincent, 93 Curly Horse Drive, advised her parents are hiding in the shower at that location for a meeting.
24 Okanagan, I don't know if we can make it through. I was up there a little ways. Myself and 6 will be en route to attempt.
24, they said it's the large white residence you see.
We can't see anything down here past the front of our cars.
When the lights go out.
Okanagan 911, what is the address of your emergency?
I'm in Pitcairn, Washington at the Lakeshore Inn. I have people stuck in the elevator and the fire's upon us. I need one of the emergency people to come pry it open for me.
Okay, they're stuck in the elevator?
Yes.
At the Lakeshore
And they've
Inn.
evacuated the terrace and we can't get it open.
And they've what?
The fire's right within me.
I'm sorry, I can't, you're yelling into the phone, I can't understand.
I'm sorry, it's really loud here. The fire is right next to us. We've evacuated the town and I'm the owner of the hotel.
Homes we built are burning down to the ground, to the ground. Wildfire raging through our town. The sheriff says we gotta get out. I can't believe it's real. Man on his rooftop praying songs.
That was my mom. That's my childhood home, my mother's home. And that's our Methodist church in town.
Take the pictures off the walls, save all you can. Call your folks and let them know we're okay. We'll be okay.
That's a pile of metal from the top of the mountain. You can see the trailer and the truck at the very top of that hauled some of that.
The timber's gone, but we are stronger than our fear. The homes we built are burning down to the ground, to the ground.
Some folks were without power for about 2.5 months on the outskirts. We were without power for eight days in the town of Pateras.
Are burning down to the ground, to the rain coming down the mountainside. I'll hear the wind chimes sing all night.
So we're clenching every time it rains over there right now. We have water, or we have land movement every single time it rains. So, just to give you a few, how many of you are kind of surprised about what that really looked like over there? I'd like to see hands, actually. Thank you. I think sometimes folks who are not used to wildfire or have not been around wildfire a whole lot, or even have. I've been a a wildland firefighter. I started 30 years ago with the Department of Natural Resources and the United States Forest Service. And I, in 30 years, never saw a fire like I saw at Carlton Complex. Things have changed a little bit over there. And so one of the things that we are doing is it's going to take some time to prepare and mitigate and make some changes over there, which we are trying to do and advocate for. But during that process, and Jim's going to kind of go through these points so you can just look at these points again on some of the impacts. But what I want you to know is that people don't recover. It takes time. It takes time to rebuild. It takes time to recover. And these were huge impacts over on the coast. Or I mean, excuse me, not on the coast. Over in Eastern Washington. So, you know, if you look at that map there that is up, that is the burn area, burn scars from 2014 and 2015. We lost 256,000 acres in the Carlton Complex. And then, again, over 600,000 acres in the 2015 fires. So the combination, we've had a lot of people traumatized over there. One of the things that has happened, usually in disaster in situations, people, neighbors and friends can step up and help each other out, correct? And what happened there is everyone was burned down to the same level. They lost all of their supporting situations. My mother ran an orchard. She had tractors. She had car trailers. She had all of those things. She lost it all. She lost her rental. She lost her primary home, for instance. 73 years old. She has not rebuilt. That's by her choice because she doesn't know where she wants to go yet. It takes time. It also takes support, and in a disaster this large, it takes support regionally, not just locally, but regionally and nationally. We've had support all the way across. So it's been quite a journey, and Jim's going to actually kind of finish out kind of the projects that we're doing and where we're headed with those, but we wanted you to have kind of a feeling of what's going on over there. Every single week we have someone walk in and go, "Where was the fire?" We see it everywhere. We see it in the building missing here, the fence post hanging on the fence over here. We see it, and it's absolutely beautiful over there right now. We've got wildflowers. We have green hills right now. You know what it looks like after a wildfire. But we see the scars, and we so appreciate all of those crews that have come over and participated and helped, and all of the contributions. United Methodists have been an absolutely critical part of this entire process, and we couldn't have done the rebuilds that we've done without you. Thank you.
From the 2014 fires, there was an organization that was established called the Carlton Complex Long-Term Recovery Group, which was supposed to handle just the fires from 2014. The 2015 fires hit, and fortunately for those of us who were trying to help, the Carlton Complex talked to their neighbors, and they decided that they would take on the entire Okanogan County in the recovery effort. For those of us in the disaster recovery business, that is a big plus, because now we only have one organization to work with and one organization to coordinate with. So the Carlton Complex and the Okanogan Complex joined. We have the Okanogan County Long-Term Recovery Group, which includes all of Okanogan, Chelan, and Douglas counties. Out of that, disaster case management is in process. We are currently looking at building 7 houses this year, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, from the 2015 fires. There are 73 families currently that are still in the disaster case management process, so we really don't know at this moment how many houses we're going to have to work over the next several years. Next slide, please. Phase 1 of Carlton Complex was completed this year. We built 14 houses. This year, we plan to build 8 more from the 2014 fires and 7 from the 2015 fires. This, again, is the big picture of the fires from 2014 and 2015. And one of the reasons I put this up here is many people don't understand the magnitude of the area that was burned. If you look at that area, geographically, it's about half the size of Connecticut. The Carlton Complex was the size of Rhode Island. Now, this is in one of our counties. Next slide. This is what it looks like after the fire goes through. There's really nothing left of a home except burned ash, twisted metal, melted glass, and remnants of things that, don't normally burn. If you look on the tables out in the hall out there, Carlene has displayed some things that she picked up from her mother's place that indicate how hot that fire really was. Next, please. One of the things that we discovered is that even though there really isn't anything left, homeowners would want to make sure that they can find any keepsake that is possible. Some of the things that have survived we found were pieces of jewelry. We found some pieces of ceramics and porcelains, and one of the reasons ceramics and porcelain survive is that they're already built to withstand the high temperature, so it's natural for them to survive. But there's not much left. But people, homeowners, survivors, wanted to sift through the ash and find whatever they could find that was left that they could say, this is part of my history. Next, please. These people over there, I have got to admit, are some of the strongest survivors I have ever met. These are some samples of temporary housing that the survivors used to get through the winters. The house in my upper left, believe it or not, is made from pallets that the gentleman scrounged from one of the local fruit packers, put some plywood on it, and the Mennonites helped him put a roof on it so that he could make it through the winter. The one on the right is a shack that was put together with 2x4s and plywood. Down in the lower left and the lower right are either campers or RVs that were donated by people across the country so that these people could survive for the winter. In the lower right-hand corner, the story behind that, this is a mother with 3 children, and unfortunately the mother has a severe case of claustrophobia. The wooden shack that you see on the left is an outdoor living room that was built so that she could get out of the trailer and wouldn't feel so claustrophobic. One of the odd things that we found was there's a Foursquare church up in, I believe it's Okanagan. Is it Okanagan or Omak?
Well,
We're
working with several.
Okay. There's a Foursquare church that was building sheds to donate to people just to store stuff so that they'd have some place to store anything that was left. Lo and behold, some of the survivors chose to use those as temporary living quarters. Remember, these are uninsulated, they don't have power, and they have very little heat. So it's survival of the fittest. But whatever they can find is what they use. Next slide, please. All of the homes that we've built so far have been with volunteer help. We got no federal aid, we got no state aid, so all of the help comes through the generous efforts of the volunteers from many faith-based and NGO organizations. So this is with our first wall that went up this year, and as you can see that the person that is the third from the right is our glorious Carlene. So not only is she the mayor and the chairman of this board, but she also slings a hammer and raises walls. Next. These are typical homes that we're putting together for the people over there. They are generally built from designs that were provided by the Mennonite Disaster Service. They had homes that had already been designed and accepted and were permitted. They knew how to build them and they knew what the material requirements were. And it was strange to me that early on, the people that we were trying to support said, we don't need a house this big. This is too big. Okay, the big house was 1,100 square feet.
It's our biggest.
The biggest. So now we're designing them and building them down in the 950 to 1,000 square foot, and they're very, very happy. Next. So, how are we financing this effort? The average cost of the homes that we're building over there are between $90,000 and $100,000. That's going from a bare dirt land to a move-in ready house. It must be funded through donations and grants because, again, no FEMA federal aid. Next. Why? It's very interesting that the requirements for federal aid depend upon your ability to help yourself and population density. Okay, those are the two key factors. We didn't meet the population density requirements. We had thousands or hundreds of thousands of acres burned, but the number of houses per acre was so small that we did not qualify.
The actual statement was it was not concentrated enough for independent assistance. Not concentrated enough. Fortunately, there is members of the board of the long-term recovery groups that have lobbied Congress, and we are hoping that the law is going to be changed so that this happens again. We will, in fact, be eligible for aid. Of the 14 homes that were built in 2014, they were all fully funded. Your UMCOR donations helped a tremendous amount. They gave us a $300,000 grant, or $300,000 in grants. There were multiple grants. Your Pacific Northwest Conference Disaster Fund donated $64,000, and we had another $500,000 that came in from many, many different sources. Next, please. So this year, phase 2, and we've divided this into 2A and 2B. 2A are those houses that were left over from 2014, and the plan is to replace 8 of those homes. Those have been fully funded through donations and grants, again, from those organizations that I have listed there. Again, UMCOR and the Northwest Conference are major contributors to that effort. Next. Phase 2B, we're building 7 homes, or replacing 7 homes from the 2015 fires. And at last report, those are also fully funded. Is that correct? Yeah, we just got a donor that stepped up and did a $275,000 check 2 weeks ago to finish out the funding for the phase 2. And yeah, thank you. We did. We got the check.
We got the check. It's not in the mail anymore. Next, please. Phase 3. It most likely will happen in 2017. As I said, the disaster case management for the 2015 fires is not complete. There were 73 families that were still in temporary housing. Of those, I think it was 40-some were either uninsured or underinsured, which would make them eligible for consideration for replacement. There are more cases that are still coming in, so phase 4 is an unknown. Next, please. So what does that mean? We're looking at needing approximately $1.5 million to do phase 3. So this is where you can come in. So how can you help? First off, you can help by volunteering. Help build the houses that we're building in phase 2 and phase 3. We'll take teams of any individuals ages 14 and up. We will not allow youth under 14 on the work sites. All skills are needed. Even if you're only a pair of hands, we can find a good job for you. The reconstruction manager is sitting over here, and he's very good at that. But we especially need construction skills. You can stay a day, you can stay a week, you can stay a week or 2. If you want to stay all summer, we can arrange that also. We're currently providing lodging at the Pateras Community Church, and we're also looking at additional lodging sites because the 2015 fires were farther north, and the travel times to get to these sites makes it a little difficult to get there, but we're looking at that. Next, please. So just skip right on to the end of that one. The contact information for that is in the brochure that you were handed out. It's either me or Rhonda Cordill, who is my partner. Rhonda is doing the coordinating and scheduling for teams going over there. But contact either one of us and we'll set you up. If you'll stop by the display out there, I have handouts that will tell you more information about that, and also a form that you can fill out to register your team. Next, please. Make a donation. There are multiple ways you can make a donation. You can send a check to the conference through your church, put advance 352 on the memo line. You can give me a check today. You can give me cash. I'm not proud. I'll take anything except credit cards. I can't take credit cards. That information is also in this brochure. And I want to remind you that just like UMCOR, every dollar that you donate to this disaster fund goes directly to the disaster. There is no overhead cost. Jim, how do I get one of those really cool t-shirts you're wearing? Well, they were on the table back there, and when I checked a while ago, there was only one t-shirt left. So somebody has found them, Dave. Okay, next please. So, folks, let's go help some people.
I just want to tell you how much, I didn't know Jim before this. I want to tell you how much he and all of the groups that have been involved have meant to everyone over there in Eastern Washington. And I want to personally give Jim a huge round of thank you to him. I mean, this is incredible. Thank you.
Oh, sure. Some of you were not here last night. I'd like to introduce the Okanogan County Long-Term Recovery Reconstruction Supervisor, Barry Hansen. He is one of our own, and I want to tell you, having worked with Barry for the last year and a half has been amazing. This man knows his business, and he does an outstanding job of getting the job done.
We had a question.
Yes, there's a question. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim, tell him.
Mission U, the United Methodist Women at Mission U this year are collecting, they're calling it a kitchen shower, is that correct? And they're collecting things that would replace the things that are lost and needed in the kitchen when a homeowner moves in, and also for the bathrooms. And I know that Marysville United Methodist Church is doing a similar thing for things just for your bathroom. And there's a question over here.
I'm sorry, at this time, that is a special edition with the 9/11 clips in it. That has not been cleared to be released, so you get a different view. Yeah.
Now, I have an earlier version without the 9/11 calls. If you will send me an email, I will be happy to share that with you. And you can pick up my business card back there on the table, and I'll be happy to send it to anybody that wants it.
We are so blessed to have Jim Truitt, Carlene Anders, and Barry Hansen with us. I don't know anyone who has seen this presentation whose heart wasn't broken and who didn't go back and talk about this and start doing something to change it. And I just want to thank all of you for bringing this to our attention, to Dave Reinholz and our district lay leaders who brought this to the Board of Laity and said, let's do something about this. And before I take a comment there, I just want to say thank you to all of those who have brought this to the Laity Session. This is what I was talking about last night. We lay members of annual conference hear about these things, and we can't keep quiet. We've got to go home and get our churches involved. So thanks again to all of those who presented. So microphone number 3. Uh-oh. I think they're working on it. Microphone number 3, please.
At the Northwest United Methodist Foundation, I have a bias. My wife's family was from Pateros, so I'll mention that right off the bat. 10 years ago, this group raised almost $250,000 to build 4 habitat homes, which leaves us with memories that we still like to recollect and think about. 5 years ago, we raised almost $70,000 in 36 hours to support Laity Orphanage, number 2. I appreciated their report. I recognize the damage that's been done, and I wonder if there isn't a more concrete way that we could respond to that, and that we might not bring a motion to the full plenary of setting a goal to help with what needs to be done in the future. And what I'd suggest, just to throw it out, is I think we could raise $250,000 to help them.
Thank you, Tom. We should talk.
Okay.
See how we can make that happen. Thank you. Karen Fisher has a quick comment, and then we're going to move on in our program. Karen?
Unfortunately, I did not have the time to say the same things I did last night at the Laity Session. And the Board of Laity has set a goal of building 6 homes. That's what we want to do. So we're looking at about $500,000 because UMCOR has generously matched a little bit, has given us already $90,000. We're probably going into this having already raised $100,000. So we really think we can do it, and that is the challenge. We have 6 districts. I think we might be able to all get together and build 6 houses. And so that's what we would like you to take to your communities and the people within your churches and challenge them to do it. And we have some success stories already. So thank you.
And your district lay leaders are on this, so you will be hearing much more about it. At this point, I think we need to invite Rosalie Money to come up. We have elected a new conference lay leader, and she's going to tell us about that.
Now I know how Price Waterhouse feels, or whoever it is with the Oscars. I just want to say a word about the rebuild project. When it came to our attention that, should we do this, everything, I mean, we were on a conference call, and I think I was the first voice on the conference call. I said yes. And then it was just before then, I guess, we had the Seattle District Training Meeting. We had a speaker that talked about not being able to do something. The name of his book is Can't Not Do. Personally, corporately, faith-based, I have to do this. I can't not do it. So Seattle District, watch out. And we will be talking about this at the district meeting tomorrow night also. Okay. You've chosen your new conference lay leader. I want to thank both of these talented, poised people for their skills and their willingness and their looking ahead on behalf of all of us for the district. You have chosen as your next conference lay leader, Nancy Tam Davis. Come on up. Amy, thank you so much. We will hear more from you, I am sure. Nancy, do you want to come up? I wished I had a statuette or something to... this is a sign you haven't even begun yet. That's right, that's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know that you will be as blessed by serving in this role as I have been.
Well, I'll be calling you.
Absolutely. You have my number. You have my number.
Thank you very much, and I hope to serve you well. You will.
You know, there are many ways that the laity serve the church, and we don't often get to hear about the many ways. But today we have a rare opportunity to hear from Alethea McGavran, who was consecrated as a deaconess at General Conference. If you were there or if you were watching online, you saw the deaconesses who were consecrated, and our own Alethea McGavran was one of them. She is from the Seven Rivers District and will be commissioned on Sunday during the service of ordination and commissioning. I've asked Lethe to come and just speak to us for a few moments about what her call is and what it means to be a deaconess. So would you help me welcome Alethea?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. Like she said, I was consecrated at General Conference, and I am looking forward to being commissioned and fixing my appointment in the Pacific Northwest Annual Conference family on Sunday. Now, the statement from the National Association of Deaconesses and Home Missioners is that we want our order to be a prophetic voice for love, justice, and service so that all may experience abundant life in Christ. Deaconesses and home missioners are appointed to full-time ministries of love, justice, and service in a church-related vocation or helping profession. We currently serve in a diversity of contexts, including prisons, healthcare facilities, schools, universities, church agencies, shelters, community centers, or in my particular case, inside the internet. My role through Prosser United Methodist Church is Web Ministry Director. And I didn't realize when I originally got that job title from my wonderful pastor, Bo Bryan, who I don't think is here because he's got clergy session somewhere. My son-in-law pointed out to me that my job title is WebMD. And that has been a continuing joke in my family. And so that's the appointment that will be being fixed on Sunday. So as lay professionals called to serve in justice ministries, we're ideally called to work ourselves out of a job. You see a need, and you create an infrastructure to fulfill that need, to help it fix itself. You see deaconess hospitals, deaconess schools, and shelters. You see things with the name deaconess on them. You don't see a deaconess. You'll never see a deaconess get anything. You see that there was a deaconess here. There was a hand of God here, and they helped. And they walked away, and they left a legacy not for themselves, but for God. And deaconess and home missioner motto is, I serve neither for gratitude nor reward, but from gratitude and love. My reward is that I may serve. And that's really what it boils down to. The reward is to serve. And I invite any of you who maybe are hearing something that sounds like, well, I can be a lay professional. Come talk to me. I don't know yet she is here. Okay. Lindsay Weber is currently a candidate for deaconess, and she is an occupational therapist by trade. And that I'm just learning, I have heard over again from deaconesses who are retired, is where this is going to take you. So she comes into it with her education experience as an occupational therapist, and who knows where God is going with that. You come in and know nothing. I've worked like in very communications and tech, and deaconesses home missions are strong. They're strong in faith,
many of you out there are lay servants or lay speakers? How many of you have done some of the classes in the Lay Servant Ministries program? Many of you. You may then be aware that there have been some changes to the program that came into effect as a result of, or will come into effect as a result of actions at General Conference. Catherine Garnett is here. She is our conference director of Lay Servant Ministries, and she's going to give us a little overview of some of the changes. So, Catherine.
I'm one of the short ones too. Good afternoon. Over the years, I know there has been considerable confusion about the Lay Servant Ministries program, and with the institution of the Certified Lay Minister program, that's just amplified. Fortunately, at the General Conference, we were able to get a degree of clarification and some interesting changes that I think will help us over the next few years sort this all out. Most of the work of putting the petitions together for General Conference were produced by Jody Cataldo, who is the Director of Lay Development for the General Board of Discipleship. If you have not met her, is she in the room right now? Jody is here, and she has a booth out there. Stop and see her and thank her for the wonderful work that she does for us. And we will have for you tomorrow morning a chart that will help clarify in order the steps that are needed, first of all, to become a lay servant, to become a certified lay servant, and then a certified lay speaker, which is now a separate track for those who feel called to pulpit ministry. And it also includes the certified lay minister requirements. Hopefully this will be helpful to you. To help you a little further, tomorrow at lunch, I will be at a table and will invite anyone with questions to come and have a conversation. And Jody is hoping to be sitting too, so that between the two of us, we can clarify things for you. I think that this will be more helpful than my trying to itemize some of those changes. We were pleased that all of the petitions or amendments that were presented at General Conference were approved on the consent calendar. So we feel that we have a much better way of explaining the program to folks so that we can encourage and continually upgrade the skills of our laity in their local church and beyond. So tomorrow morning we'll have the chart for you. Tomorrow at noon I'll see those of you who have further questions or catch me around the room for the rest of the conference. Thank you.
So the additional item that is not on your bulletin is an update on Imagine No Malaria. So I'm going to invite our presenters to start coming forward. And as they do, I have one announcement that I want to make. I was just handed this late breaking news. Tonight, we are all invited to a dessert banquet at Puyallup UMC. It's hosted by the African American Caucus, and it will be held at Puyallup UMC in the Fireside Room to honor Reverend Stan DePano, Phyllis Ferguson, Joan Holmes, Albert Moore, Reverend Edsel Goldson, and others who have made significant contributions in our annual conference and helped to advance the inclusion and full participation of ethnic minorities, including African Americans, who will also honor lay pastors who have completed service at 6:30. I'm sorry, the last line is cut off. So, in other words, we're invited to Puyallup UMC at 6:30 for a dessert banquet to honor a group of folks and to celebrate ethnic ministries in the conference. So we're all invited, and I hope you'll be there. Julia, would you come forward? And you're alone. Julia Frisbee, everyone. Please welcome her.
Hello. It is such a pleasure to be back with you. I've missed you guys. Hold on, I'm going to use the microphone to page my friend. Ashley Gish, come up here. She's in the back corner on the phone, sorry. Oh man. Well, we have some really exciting news to share with you today. This is definitely part of the Rejoice, part of our Sabbath theme. And we have a report on our progress as a conference, our progress as an Episcopal area, and our progress as a denomination on Imagine No Malaria. So I'm going to introduce my friend Ashley Gish. She's coming up to the stage now. She's the Assistant Campaign Director for Imagine No Malaria, and she's come all the way from Nashville and during her honeymoon to be with us today. And Ashley's the one who trained me, so please give her a warm welcome.
Thank you, Julia, and I apologize to all of you for being honest. I scraped my rental car. So I was dealing with that on the phone, but it is such a pleasure to be here with you today. And I wanted to come and tell you how grateful we all are in Imagine No Malaria for the work that the Pacific Northwest Annual Conference has done. I want to thank you for your incredible generosity. You are part of a global movement to end preventable deaths. So here's a snapshot of what we've accomplished through Imagine No Malaria together so far. We, as a denomination, with participation at some level from every single U.S. conference, have raised over $68.8 million.
And that money has trained more than 11,600 health workers.
We've distributed over 2.3 million insecticide-treated bed nets.
We've provided needed supplies and repairs for over 300 health clinics and hospitals.
With these efforts, we have impacted over 4.6 million people.
And since we started this campaign in 2010, death rates from malaria in sub-Saharan Africa have fallen by 70%. Give yourselves a hand, that's amazing.
So in all of this work, we can see that through each one of you and through each one of your brothers and sisters across this conference, God has done more than all that we could ask or imagine or even dream. And we're not finished yet. The United Methodist Church is in it for the long haul with our hospitals and clinics across sub-Saharan Africa. We will continue to provide supplies and much-needed resources and education with the money you have already raised. And now our denomination is broadening its scope with an initiative called Abundant Health, our promise to children. And through this program, we intend to reach 1 million children with life-saving interventions between now and the year 2020.
So here in the U.S., our promise to children might look like having access to healthier foods. Maybe abroad it means access to clean water, or access to simple health care like the drug that can cure malaria. So Imagine No Malaria is still part of the new thing that we're working on. And that's really important to me because even though our fundraising is coming to a close on this campaign, this is not coming to a close in my heart. It's still something that really matters to me. So there will still be an advance number for Imagine No Malaria. And if there are people in your church who feel called to contribute, that'll still be possible.
So from all of us at Imagine No Malaria, we are incredibly grateful to each one of you and every person in this conference. But I especially want to say a word of thanks. I shared my thanks at the clergy session with Bishop Gia for the leadership that he has provided, because you as a conference, through the leadership you have had, have raised, as of April 30th, so we know it's even better at this point, as of April 30th, you've raised $502,708.67. And I also would be remiss without saying a big thank you to my friend Julia, who has been an incredible field coordinator, not just for the Pacific Northwest, but for the whole Episcopal area. Thanks in very large part to her enthusiastic support and leadership. This Episcopal area, United Methodists in Washington, Idaho, Oregon, and Alaska have come together to raise over $1.1 million. That's incredible.
I'm so proud of us. And none of us did it alone. There are a lot of people I want to thank. I'm going to do it really quickly. So when I call you out, please stand. And once most of you are on your feet, we're going to show a quick video. And the video has pictures of people across the Episcopal area raising money, and then some pictures about what that money has paid for. The song in the video is our gift to you. You can download it for free from imaginomalaria.org. And the time it takes to play this video is also our gift to you, because I know after lunch I always need to wiggle it out. So once the video starts, that's your cue to mill about, stretch, wiggle, whatever you need to do to wake yourself up. Okay, so here we go. First of all, I don't know if there are any members here of the extended cabinet, but I owe the extended cabinet a huge thank you for leadership and support. If you're here from the extended cabinet, please stand up. Thanks, Joan. And Joan's also a member of our steering committee, along with Kristen Joyner, who helped to steer me and everyone else as we ran this campaign in the Northwest. I also want to thank the conference staff. You guys there, hi Patrick, I'm looking at you. In the back, conference staffers have gone above and beyond for this project so many times. So thank you, conference staff. I also want to thank the Worth family, who got us kicked off to a great start 2 years ago with a $35,000 grant. And I want to thank all the volunteers who've organized fundraising events across the conference. Thank you to people who are here representing our rock star churches. Stand up, rock star church folks. Your churches have been incredible, raising more than $10,000 each, or more than $50 per regular attendee. Thank you to everyone from every church who ever got involved in this project. If your church did anything for Imagino Malaria, please stand up. Or if you ran in the 5K for Imagino Malaria, please stand up and look around you. This is amazing. Thank you especially to our anonymous donor who took us over the top in the final hour with a $75,000 matching gift. With you, with all of us, God is able. Here's the video.
Can ask or imagine.
God with hearts that are open, working for justice, hope and healing. Your hand in my hand, let's take a stand and we'll show the world what we believe in. All God's children, rise up. Our God is able, more than able, to do more than we can ask or imagine. Our God is able, more than able, to do more than we can ask or imagine. I know gonna Jesus, I know gonna Jesus, I know gonna Jesus is able. I know gonna Jesus, I know gonna Jesus is capaz. I know gonna Jesus, our God is able, more than able, every dream to do more than we can ask or imagine. Our God is able, He's able, more than able, He's able to do more than we can ask or imagine. You are more than able.
Friends, before we depart this place and go back to the work of the annual conference, I invite you to form your Sabbath bowls, to center your hearts and mind on the work that we face together as church. Nancy said that may you live in interesting times, and if there ever was a time for the laity to step up in a leadership role and lead this church, it is today. So with that thought, receive this blessing from Celtic poet and writer John O'Donohue from his book, To Bless the Space Between Us. And may you fill your bowl with these words. May the gift of leadership awaken in you as a vocation. Keep you mindful of the providence that calls you to serve. As high over the mountains the eagle spreads its wings, may your perspective be larger than the view from the foothills. When the way is flat and dull in times of gray endurance, may your imagination continue to evoke horizons. When thirst burns in times of drought, may you be blessed to find the wells. May you have the wisdom to read time clearly and know when the seed of change will flourish. In your heart, may there be a sanctuary for the stillness where clarity is born. May your work be infused with passion and creativity, and have the wisdom to balance compassion and challenge. And may your soul find the graciousness to rise above the fester of small mediocrities. May your power never become a shell wherein your heart would silently atrophy. May you welcome your own vulnerability as the ground where healing and truth join. And may the integrity of soul be your first ideal, the source that will guide and bless your work. May it be so.
It has been a full gathering, a full time, and I am grateful to all of you for the ways you have allowed me to lead. This is my last laity session, and I look forward to finding new ways to serve the church. Your new lay leader will take this on next year, and I will be out there and very excited to be among you again and see where the laity go a year from now. So you are dismissed. We will be in focus sessions at 3:30, so you have a little break. David presented us with our closing prayer, so I invite you to make your way from here. God bless.
Thank you, John.
Tomorrow will be the official farewell. After your ladies, I want to come up.